Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get into sports management at the college level. My guest today is Priscila Alfaro-Barrantes, and she is the Assistant Professor of Sports Management for Nichols College. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so usually, Priscila, I start my guests where they went to college. So where'd you go to school?
I'm originally from Costa Rica. I've been 18 years in the United States. I recently became a U.S. citizen in March, so I'm very excited about that. But I grew up in Costa Rica, so back home, when I went to college, I decided to either study political science or public relations. And then I went to the public relations route. So since I was in college, or even before college, in high school, I was working, and I work a lot in ticket sales for different soccer teams. In Costa Rica, the only sport that we know of is soccer. We don't care about any other sport. Soccer is it. So, and then I had the opportunity to work for one of the main soccer teams, or one of the most important ones in Costa Rica, or one of the biggest ones. That's what I should say. And I did an internship there, and then I was able to finish my degree while working there. Oh. So I went to a university called, it used to be called Universidad Interamericana, and then it was changed to Universidad Latina. That's what it's called today.
Okay.
And I did my undergrad in public relations, and then after my internship, that internship, it was in public relations and marketing for that soccer team in Costa Rica, and then I was able to continue there for a little while. And then I was laid off. They changed the general manager, and he brought his own people. Ah. And I was extremely sad, because that was my dream job. Like, I was doing social responsibility is one of the areas that I'm very passionate about. And that was what I was doing. And I was selling sponsorship packages, another area that I like. And I was really young, in my early 20s, and I had my dream job. And I was only getting paid $20 a week, and that was my dream job.
Wow.
So, and then because I was laid off, so then I had to start finding another job, and I wasn't able to land a job because I didn't know any English. So everywhere when I went to look for a job, they say, well, that's great, you have that experience, but you don't know English. So I thought, what can I do to learn English fast so that I can get another job? And then my answer was to go and work as a nanny, as an au pair, for a year in the United States. Ah. And that was a very humbling experience, because I was thinking, 6 months ago, I was dealing with Coca-Cola and Motorola for the sponsorship deals, and I'm here changing diapers. And that was very humbling, but I had a goal. My goal was to learn English in a year. I didn't know, I knew the colors, the day of the week, the months of the year. That's it. And then, so I wanted to come here and just learn English and go back.
Wow. Where were you in the United States?
Illinois. I was in Kirkland, Illinois, which is a very small town. It's about 30 minutes from DeKalb, Illinois. And DeKalb is small, and Kirkland is way smaller than that. So it's only like three at that time. It might be bigger now, but it was three streets, and that's it. And to come as an au pair, I needed to learn how to drive. So I learned how to drive, and then came from Costa Rica to the middle of nowhere, surrounded by cornfields, and had to drive in the middle of snowstorms. And so that was a very interesting experience. But I came focused. I went to English classes at a community college. And then they told me I was learning fast. And then I was able to move to advanced. And when I was in advanced English classes, about 6 months after, I met a professor, and she said, could you come and help me to teach other students to know much English, and that are Spanish speakers too? And I was like, really? and then I made like a good friendship with her. And then she said, have you ever looked into going to college here? And I feel like, will my degree even be valid here? Then she said yes. And then I met another lady that used to work at Northern Illinois University just by chance. And then she told me the same thing. And then I said, well, even if my degree is, valid here, how can I afford it? So then told me they were like graduate assistantships and all this. So as an au pair, I used to get paid $140 a week.
Wow.
And then I saved my money to take the GRE. I had to take the GRE several times because I kept failing the English part. the English portion. And then I took the GRE 4 times, and then I went to meet with the director of the program, and then he said, but I had a 3.86 GPA from back home, and I had good letters of recommendation from that lady that I met at the college, and then he said, okay, it's fine, we're going to admit you. And then I started going to different interviews for graduate assistantships, and then I was able to land one somehow, and then I went home and switched my visas from the J1 visa to a student visa.
Wow.
And then I went back home for like 1 year after being. I was here 1 year, and then I went home for a week, switched my visa, and then came back as a student. So I was very excited because I didn't know there was this degree called sport management, and then I had my degree in public relations with the experience working in soccer. So I started doing the master's at Northern Illinois University in sports management.
Wow.
I thought that I already knew English because I was already a year here. And then one of my dearest professors, and he's my friend and he knows this, Dr. Rod Coffrin, I couldn't understand what he was saying. I was like crying because I was always a really good student back home, and I couldn't understand what he was saying. And I thought, I already know English. How is it possible? I've been here a year and I cannot understand what you're saying. So then, little by little, I went to the English language center, and then they helped me with papers and all this. And, he was very supportive of me the whole career, my whole time at 2 years at NIU. And then toward the end, he said, you should go to law school or do a doctorate.
Wow.
And I'm like, that seems cool. And I didn't even know what a doctorate was. I knew there was like a very high degree, but I didn't know what I could do with it. And then he told me the difference between law school and getting a PhD, and I decided to get a PhD. So then from there, I applied to different universities in the United States, and then I was admitted to Florida State, and I decided to go to Florida State. So I went to Florida State in 2007, started my doctorate there, and finished it I graduated in 2012.
Wow. And so after graduating college, how did you go from there to becoming a professor at Nichols College?
So when at Florida State has a great sport management program for when you are a doctorate student. They allow you to teach courses, and it's funny because I came to this country not knowing a word of English, and then I had to take a speak test to be able to teach theory classes, and I was the only international student who passed the test. So I always say that I'm like, somehow, and then I taught all those years at Florida State. While I was a student, I was teaching undergrad courses, and so I graduated with teaching experience. And then after I graduated, when I defended my presentation, I was pregnant. So then I decided to only teach online for a few years, and then I taught for Southern New Hampshire University online. And then after a few years, I was ready to go back in the classroom. And then Nichols College gave me the opportunity to come here and work. So I started at Nichols in the fall of 2018. And so far it has been a great experience because it's a very small university that had only about 1,200 students. And it's very hands-on. So back home in Costa Rica, my undergrad, every single class that I took, I have to do a project. I have to work with real clients, with companies. That's not the case anymore in a lot of universities here, but at Nichols, that's what they appreciated. So that's what I thought it was a good fit, and that's why I accepted the job, and that's what I do. A lot of my job, my current job at Nichols, a lot of my courses we work with clients in sport marketing and social media and a few other things.
Wow. So give us a little sense of what sports marketing is, sports management at a college is. So if I'm a student in high school and I want to go to Nichols College to take up sports management, what can I expect when I get there?
Right. So I always tell my students and the parents when we have open houses, what is sport management? And I always say it's business applied to sport. And the question is, so why can't they just get a business degree? So my answer is because sports is a unique product, right? We don't see people around wearing shirt from Tide, like, oh, I use Tide to wash my clothes. No, but we see people wearing the jerseys of all their teams and then the fan identification and how much people like sports and how they feel that it's part of their culture. I live in New England, and it's so unique here too. It's just very different than any other product. So when we study sport marketing, it's a lot about understanding the psychological connection that people have with athletes and with teams, right? How they make their sense of, we won when the Red Sox win. Oh, but they lost when they lose, and we teach why people say those things, and why athletes are so impactful, and why people look up to them, and why many companies like Dunkin' Donuts, for example, they have nothing to do with sports, have such a strong connection with the Red Sox, and things of that nature is what we learn in sport management. Another thing that I'm interested in is, like I said, social responsibility. So why sport organizations go to Children's Hospital, and why they donate money, and why Robert Kraft took a bunch of health workers to the Super Bowl, why people do that. And then, so that's what I try to teach them in the courses. Also, another thing that I like to do is working with veterans. So a few of the projects that I've done with students is to help veterans organizations to raise money. So, for example, in the fall of 2018, we worked with an organization for Vermont, and we had the students run a 22 push-up challenge.
Wow.
So to learn about marketing and social media marketing. So they will, nominate their friends and their families, and everybody will do 22 push-ups and donate $22. And the goal was $2,500, and the students ended up raising almost $13,000.
Wow!
Because they were so excited. The prize was, of course, helping a veteran organization, but they were going to be exempt from their final exam. So that was a little bit of motivation for them to work really hard. And because of that experience, I was able to, I always asked them to write a reflection, and it was very rewarding for me as a professor to read how scared they were, because it was like, oh, they're working with a real organization, but then how awesome they felt. We felt awesome at the end because they were able to fundraise all that, and the college was, publishing what they were doing. And so I always try to connect that sport aspect to some other social cause that we can do. There is this little boy called Quinn in Massachusetts that he suffers from a brain tumor. And then a couple semesters ago, my students did a burpee challenge. So all the student athletes they had to do as many burpees as they could to get to 1,000 burpees. And then my students were able to find a donor. They donated $1,000 and donated to Quinn's family.
Wow. So tell me something. When a student comes to Nichols College, what are some of the classes that they take in sports management?
The first semester, so one thing that Nichols is different from other schools is that our students start taking courses from the first semester. A lot of other programs out there, students take courses in the junior and senior year, but our students take from the day that they arrive at Nichols. So the first class that they take is Introduction to Sport Management, which is basically an overview of what is sport management. We talk a little bit of sport finance, a little bit of sport marketing, sports and society, ethics, all of that good stuff. So it's just one semester long, so it's a lot for one semester, but it's just an overview of the field. And then after that, they take sport and society the following semester. And after that, they have to take courses such as special event planning. They also, our program requires the students to take 6 credit hours of internship, and that can be a practicum or an actual internship. So practicums are basically hands-on classes that the professor is more like a mentor, and we just tell them, this is the goal, go at it. Wow. And they start taking practicums in their sophomore year. And then they also required to take sport marketing and required to take sport law, a few other electives depending on their concentration. Right now, we used to have only sport management, but now we have sport management, strategy and sales, and sport marketing and social media. Oh. And we also added a new coaching certificate. So depending on their specialization, they're sort of the courses that they continue to take.
And what kind of certification is it?
It's a coaching certificate.
Just for coaching of any sort?
Yeah, so our students are we found out that our students are very interested, or at least our current cohort are very interested in coaching. So that's why we're now starting offering that certificate. We have, again, like there are 1,200 students at Nichols College, and our program is the largest with 265 majors.
Wow.
And a little bit of 100 minors.
Wow. So now, what are some of the requirements that are needed to get into sports management at Nichols College?
So now, because of COVID, our requirements have become more flexible. So we want the students that come and know a little bit about sports. Of course, we get a lot of athletes because they see it as an organic fit.
Sure.
But you don't have to be an athlete to be a sport management major. I never played sports in my life. I do CrossFit now, but now after a month. But and basically we just want students that really want to work and then be all hands-on, because our major, if they want to just a major where they have to take quizzes or tests, that's not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
We rarely have those. I mean, we do have those, but most of our courses are just apply. And it's a lot of work. It's more work for students and more work for professors as well.
So tell me, not a lot of people know where Nichols College is. Tell me a little bit about the school and what can students expect when they get there?
Yeah, so Nichols College, we say it's only an hour from Boston, and that sounds really cool, but it's in Dudley, Massachusetts. And it's a very rural town, a small town. So our campus is beautiful, but it's in the it's very small, and again, it takes like about an hour from Boston, about 40 minutes from Worcester, which is the second largest city in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of a community feeling. A lot of our students come to Nichols because they say that they went to visit the largest school and they felt lost and they didn't feel like they fit. So we really target those students who want more like the family, smaller class sizes. Our class sizes is the largest class is 27.
Wow.
Which is so different. When I taught at Florida State, I had a class with 75 students once, and 45 the smallest. So the students who really want like a more personalized education are the ones that tend to come to Nichols. Wow. And it's as a professor, that's really great because I supervise all our internships, and I get to know them and what they want to do. I know Jacob and Brian and Cooper, by name, and I know what they want to do, versus the largest universities, that's nearly impossible because the amount of students.
Now, are there extracurricular activities at the school as well? Do people play sports there? Or are there other things that students do?
Yeah, we have a very active recreation department. There are a lot of clubs, and including rugby. Now there's one that they just funded last year. So a lot, and they have the paranormal club, the bowling club, like it's so sort of different clubs. And plus, in sport management, over 70% of our students are athletes.
Wow! So
they are very busy with that anyway. So
now, how about financially? Colleges are not cheap these days. So are there things like scholarships or merit money or academic money that students can apply for?
Yeah, so Nichols is a Division III institution, so students are not awarded athletic scholarships, but they are they can be awarded merit scholarships, and we have a very active board, and they are always trying to raise money. Same with our advancement office. They're great at reaching out to alumni and created different scholarships. Just 2 years ago, a new scholarship for the students who want to study accounting. And now I understand because of all the hardships that people are experiencing due to COVID, a lot of the students are getting a break in tuition when they come to Nichols.
So now, you said your first job was your dream job. Is this become your dream job now?
I always say, because I come from a family of educators. My mommy was a high school teacher, my grandma elementary school teacher, all my uncles and other teachers say, I will never be a teacher. But I guess it runs in the family, and I really enjoy my time at Nichols. I really get to do what I want. Like I work with, like I said, I'm passionate about working with veterans, so I'm able to connect that to my job at Nichols, and I like working with startups. So, for example, Noble is the sponsor for the CrossFit Games now, but they were born in Boston. So my second semester at Nichols, I was able to bring them to Nichols.
Wow.
Then Booty by Bravens, she's really big now in the New England area, but like I was able to bring it to Nichols and do a case study for my class with that. And then Protein Powerball, last year we worked with them, which is also a startup. I love working with startups. And there is a new basketball team in Worcester. It's called Worcester Majors. And right before Christmas last year, I saw the new basketball team was coming to Worcester, and I told the students that I felt like I was getting my Christmas present there, because I thought they don't have anything. So I reached out to them in my class, work with them, my sport marketing class, and now they are applying almost everything that my students proposed. Even they chose the logo that my students proposed to them.
So now, do you actually go out and find companies to come to the school, an internship for the students to internship there?
Yeah, it works both ways. Sometimes I go, like finding the clients is mostly me reaching out, but we also get alums and people from the community reaching out to us and say, I have these internship opportunities available. Do you have any students? So I, as an internship coordinator, have to figure out what the organization wants, and then what my students can do for them, and try to match, my students' skills, or maybe I think that Anthony, is good with this, and try to connect them there. But it has become my dream job, I guess.
So tell me a little bit about the internships that these students get. Are they like a whole year type of internship?
So we have different internships. Originally, when I arrived to Nichols, students were required to do 9 credit hours of internship. But now we cut them down to 6 credit hours because of all the other specializations that we have. Students are still allowed to do 9 credits if they want, but they're required to do 6. And again, we have such a variety of organizations and so many students that everybody ends up doing something different. So if Mary wants to do something in sports communication, for example, so what we tell the students is connect with me and connect with the advisor from their first semester. So we get to know them and say, okay, you want to do sports information? I know so-and-so at this college in the athletic department, or I know so-and-so in Boston College. That would be a very good entry-level internship. And then do one the first summer of your freshman year. And then do another one the summer of your sophomore year. And then do another one if you can in your junior year. Because the sport industry have changed so much. Then now the internships the students want, which is working for the Celtics, working for the Patriots, the ones that they want, they hire interns, they already have experience.
Yeah.
So I know it's mind puzzling. You get an internship to get experience, but they hire them only if they have experience. So I always drew these boxes. I said, this is the entry-level internship, you should pursue. And this is the second one you should pursue. And then that one is going to lead you to this one. Hopefully.
Oh, great.
So we do that. And then the practicums also help the students. Like I did the Super Bowl practicum.
Yeah.
So this year we have to cancel it because of COVID. But last year I took 16 students to work during Super Bowl week. We were down in Miami for 9 days.
Wow.
And then I had students that went from criminal justice, and the rest were from sport management.
Wow.
So they all had experience there, and they said there was experience that they never going to forget, and it was for me too. So,
well, Priscilla, we're coming to the end of our show, and usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the parents and the students that are watching this, and they want to come to Nichols College and take sports management? What advice do you want to give them?
I think they should know the major, reach out and talk with the professors, not just say that because they like the Red Sox or they like the Giants, that's why they want to study sport management. Like really find out, what the major is about, what the industry is about. It's a very competitive industry, so do your research. And then if you want to come to Nichols, you have to be ready to work from the moment that you get here. You cannot expect to just take courses and work in your senior year outside. That's not going to get you where you want to be. Where you want to be is, you have to start working from day one to get where you want to be in the industry when you graduate.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.